I have to roll my sleeves. None of my vehicles are working. I just am trying to get to school. And I tell you what, I almost said that I just want to get to school, but the reality is I don't even want to get there. But none of my vehicles are working. That's what I said, none of my vehicles are working. I have 2 motorcycles and a scooter. Scooter can't hit highway speeds, but the motorcycles have issues. 'Cause none of my vehicles are working. I said none of my vehicles are working. I was driving to school just the other day. Thought it'd be really nice taking old red in. I missed my cord chain. 'Cause none of my vehicles are working. Yeah, I said none of my vehicles are working. On the way in on Old Red, I smelled the smell of vape in the air, and I thought, oh no, now I'm gonna be dead. But then I noticed it was not a vapor, rather it was a vapor from my car, my motorcycle, all of the coolant. Because none of my vehicles are working. Said none of my vehicles are working. I had to stop on the side of Route 50, wait for my good roommate Isaac. He came with a new radiator hose and a whole bunch of the green kind of antifreeze, so that I could do a roadside repair. Because none of my vehicles are working. I said none of my vehicles are working. While I was waiting on the side of the road, I got to shit in the woods. I said, while waiting on the side of the road, I got shit in the woods. It made for a pretty good day at the end. 'Cause I'd always wanted to shit in the woods. I tell you what I did, pulled down my pants and I grabbed a tree right around the trunk, and I squatted down half and dug a hole. That's not my cord. Because none of my vehicles are working. I said none of my vehicles are working. Anyway, I got home and decided that the fix that I had done was just a temporary fix. Because of this vehicle you should use pre-molded radiator hoses, but this was just a bulk supply, so I didn't want to trust it for too long. Because none of my vehicles are working. None of my vehicles are working. I've also got a 1986 Yamaha XJ700 Maxim Series. It's a very fast bike. It usually treats me really, really well. Although recently it's kind of been hell. I'll tell you, I had replaced the fork seals because they were leaking. But shortly after having replaced them, these new ones too started to leak. It's really obnoxious, but not quite the end of the world. But none of my vehicles are working. Said none of my vehicles are working. Those fork seals weren't quite so bad. I thought it was enough I could handle it. But then suddenly my life got a little more sad when I noticed that the top of my crankshaft was leaking oil, seeping out of the gasket, and I figured gaskets don't just go bad, they usually have something that causes them to go bad. So I figure one of my valves has a bad seal and I'd need to get that fixed up pretty soon. But I didn't quite have the time, so I figured it'd be good enough, it can just wait. Notice my oil consumption was a little bit higher than normal. It's always consumed a little bit of oil, but a little higher than normal here. But I've been keeping the RPMs nice and low, thinking that that'll delay the issues. But no, because none of my vehicles are working. I said none of my vehicles are working. Whenever I get to school, I check my oil level in the Yamaha Maxim because at home I don't live on a flat street, I live on a hill, so that's not super conducive of checking oil levels. I topped off the oil just this morning, made sure I was ready to go. When I got to school and I checked that, I noticed I was quite low. Seems my consumption's got a little bit higher, and I'll tell you right as I noticed that this was leaking or consuming excessive oil, I also noticed that now my carburetor was leaking gasoline at quite a fast rate because none of my vehicles are working. And now I don't know what I'm going to take into school tomorrow. I also have a 2013 Vespa LX50, which is a great little scooter, gets good around the town mileage. But ever since doing one repair on it, it's been getting about 10 miles per gallon less. That's really upsetting. It's also a 50cc, which effectively means it can't go highway speed. So I can't take that on Route 50. But none of my vehicles are working. Oh yeah, none of my vehicles are working. And I'll tell you, I'm actually quite a fortunate man. My life is quite easy, all things considered. I have an abundance of people that care deeply for my well-being, and they understand my personality and my plights and the ways that I make the world stack against myself, which is to say that many people have offered me their car to take into school on other occasions. Even just recently, my dear friend Peggy said, "Hey, it's getting cold out, feel free to take my car if it gets too cold." Matter of fact, she said, "Don't wait till it's too cold. Just take it. Take it into school." But if I know life, once I take her car into school once, the head gasket's gonna blow, or the main seal will fail, the transmission will have a huge issue, the whole car will need an overhaul, the wheel bearings will go bad, and I'll leave a wheel on the side of the road because all of my vehicles are broken. It seems all the ones I touch are too. All of my vehicles are broken. I'll tell you, I just gotta find someone that rubs me the wrong way. I think I'll make him think that we're in a good sort of way so that they will lend me their car. I won't even get out of the driveway or parking spot or whatever they have it in, and the thing will start smoking and catch on fire, and it'll blow up, and everybody in the 10-mile radius will die because all my vehicles vehicles are broken, and everything I touch blows up. All my vehicles are broken. Yeah, all of my vehicles are broken. All of my vehicles are broken. And I'll tell you what, my brother John, he's got a Subaru Outback. Thing's a piece of garbage. I don't think the coolant in that thing circulates at all. And hasn't for a long time. It's got leaks out the wazoo. The oil leaks, it consumes a lot. The coolant leaks, it disappears. It forces itself out the overflow reservoir. It's very weird. But the thing just keeps running. I'll tell you, even the suspension is just shot on that thing. It squeaks and it reeks and it ratchets itself down the road. But it keeps on going. And I guess my vehicles could too keep on going, but since they're motorcycles, I don't want to risk it. If I have a mechanical failure on the road, that could be quite dangerous for me. On four wheels, you're extra secure, but on a motorcycle, you have to be a little more careful. But I'll tell you, I'm jealous at times, especially during the winter. It gets cold. Your hands, they ache. No amount of heated gloves or whatever will remedy that fully. So maybe it's not actually my vehicles that's broken. Maybe it's just my mind is broken. And that's hard to reconcile, but I think my mind's always been broken. Since the day I was born, nature or nurture, who's to say my mind has always been this way? 'Cause it seems my mind is just broken. It leads me into all these paths that lead to further troubles. I feel as if I live in a bubble, 'cause my mind has always been broken.